The road to the
We need to decide
old
now.
farm was barely
It's
a
getting
road
late.
anymore.
I'm not sure we should stay here
Just a
tonight.
trail of dust and gravel winding through miles of forgotten land. The men drove until the sun sank low, painting the hills in amber and red. The real estate papers said the place had been abandoned for 20 years. Cheap, isolated, and silent, just what he thought he needed. But as he reached the gate, something inside him whispered that he wasn't alone. The house stood tall and weary, its roof sagging like an old man's shoulders, its windows staring blankly at the horizon. The barn leaned against the wind, as if it had fought too many storms and given up. He stepped out, boots crunching dry earth, the air thick with the smell of rain that hadn't fallen in months. Then came the first sign. A set of footprints by the porch. Enormous. Too large for any man. He froze. Dust blew past him. The prints led toward the barn, each step sinking deep into the soil. He followed cautiously, heart pounding. When he pushed the barn door open, the creak echoed across the field like thunder. Inside, the air was heavy, the scent of hay, iron, and something else. Something human, but not. In the dim light, 3 massive shadows moved. His breath caught as his eyes adjusted. They were women, but not ordinary women. Towering figures, tall as the rafters. Their forms both terrifying and strangely graceful. They didn't speak at first. They simply stared, unmoving, as if waiting for him to prove he was real. The tallest stepped forward, her shadow swallowing the light. Her voice rolled through the barn like distant thunder. "This place is not yours." He tried to speak, but his words stuck in his throat. He showed the deed, trembling slightly. "I bought it," he said. It was empty. A quiet laugh rippled through the air, not cruel, but ancient, as though the land itself was laughing through them. Another voice followed, calm yet heavy. "No land is empty. Not here." The men backed toward the door, torn between fear and disbelief. "Who are you?" he asked. The question hung unanswered. One of them stepped closer, her gaze soft yet unrelenting. "We have been here before your papers, before your roads. This soil remembers us." Lightning cracked across the hills outside, and for a brief second, he saw their faces clearly, not monstrous, but powerful. Their skin seemed touched by the earth itself, their eyes reflecting both storm and sorrow. When the thunder faded, one of them reached down, her hand almost gentle. "If you stay," she said quietly, "you must listen to the land. And to us." He stood there, rain beginning to fall through the open roof. Unsure whether he had found a home, or awakened something that had been sleeping for centuries. The storm lasted through the night. Rain hammered the roof of the old house, whispering through every crack like the land was trying to speak. The men barely slept. Every sound outside pulled his mind back to the barn, to the 3 figures that had appeared like phantoms of the earth. By dawn, he wasn't sure if it had been real or a fevered dream. But when he stepped onto the porch, the footprints were still there, deep, deliberate, and fresh. He walked toward the barn again. Mist hung over the fields, wrapping the fences and trees in pale silver. When he pushed the door open, the air was different, warmer, heavy with breath and life. The barn no longer looked abandoned. Tools were neatly placed. The hay had been stacked. The scent of wild herbs lingered. And the floor shimmered faintly, as if touched by morning dew. A sound broke the silence, low and rhythmic, like someone whispering in a forgotten language. From the shadows, they appeared again, moving slowly, as if they had been there all along, waiting. The tallest one lifted her gaze, eyes glowing faintly in the half-light. "You stayed," she said. Her voice wasn't angry this time. It was calm, almost approving. He swallowed, forcing his words out. "I want to understand." The second figure, broader, her movements like rolling thunder, stepped forward. "The land remembers what men forget. You walk on stories buried beneath your boots." She knelt, pressing a hand to the ground, and the floorboards trembled faintly. "It breathes. It hurts." He frowned, looking down. The air grew colder, vibrating with something unseen. "What are you?" he whispered. "We are what's left," came the reply. "When your kind came, the rivers were broken. The mountains were cut open. And the heart of the land was silenced. We stayed to keep it alive." He felt the words settle deep inside him. The air tasted of iron and ash. Outside, the wind howled, bending the trees toward the ground. The third one, quietest of the three, spoke from behind him. Her voice like wine through tall grass. "This farm is not a place to own. It's a wound that remembers its pain." He turned, eyes darting between them. "Then why let me buy it?" The tallest answered, "Because the land chose you." The words hit harder than thunder. "Chose me?" he repeated. She nodded slowly. "You heard the silence. You felt the weight in your chest when you first saw this place. That was the land calling to be heard again." For a moment, no one moved. The storm outside began to fade, replaced by a stillness that was almost holy. Then she extended her hand, massive, scarred, and covered in faint lines that glowed softly, like roots of light running beneath her skin. "Touch the ground," she said. He knelt and pressed his palm to the earth. It was warm, impossibly warm, pulsing like a heartbeat. Visions flashed through his mind. The same hills covered in green long before fences were built, rivers flowing free. Creatures of enormous size roaming peacefully beneath wide blue skies. He saw people who sang to the soil and were answered by it. And then he saw them vanish under smoke, metal, and hunger. When he pulled his hand back, tears streaked his face without him realizing. The three figures watched. In silence. "Now you see," one said softly. "This farm isn't cursed. It's crying." He looked up at them, his voice breaking. "What do I do?" The tallest one stepped closer, her shadow covering him like a mountain. "Stay. Listen. Restore what was broken." "How?" he asked. "By remembering that this land is alive, and so are we." The barn door creaked open on its own, the wind rushing through like a sigh of relief. Outside, the first rays of sunlight touched the muddy fields. And for the first time, the ground shimmered, green shoots breaking through the dirt as if awakened. The men stepped out slowly, realizing the farm was changing beneath his feet. The earth hummed faintly, and the air no longer smelled of decay, but of rain and new beginnings. Behind him, the three figures remained in the shadows, silent and watching. The tallest one spoke one last time, "You are its keeper now. But remember, everything that grows must first understand the roots." He turned to reply, but the barn was empty again. The footprints faded with the mist, leaving only silence. Yet deep in his chest, the heartbeat of the land echoed, slow and steady, as if something ancient had accepted him. He stood there long after sunrise, the wind brushing against his face, and knew his life would never be the same. The farm was no longer just a place to live, it was a promise, a burden, and a voice that would never stop whispering beneath the soil.